Members, this is the appointed time and we have a quorum. So I'll call to order this meeting. We have two sessions for today to deal with this agenda item, and there'll be a 10-minute break after the first session. The next session will begin at 5:10. And I remind members that if you have direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to the item discussed today, then in relation to 83A of the Rules of Procedure, would members please disclose the nature of the interest before you speak. And I also remind members in relation to Rule 84 of the Rules of Procedure in relation to voting with direct pecuniary interest. We'll continue to discuss the two items relating to the establishment of the IT Bureau. The first paper is FCR 2014-15-36B, which invites members to approve the creation of three non-civil service posts and 4 civil service posts. The second paper, FCR 37B, invites members to approve the adjusted to create a new head of expenditure entitled Government Secretariat, IT Bureau, and the recurrent subhead under the General Revenue account, and also with a ceiling of $14,145,000. And as of noon, Tuesday, the 27th of October, the Secretariat received altogether 1,133 amendments under 37A from 6 members. I believe that the 20 amendments submitted by 5 members are in compliance with the rules of procedure and can be proceeded to voting. And as for the remaining motions, I have returned to the 5 members around 10 a.m. on the 29th of October and reminded them to choose representative motions and resubmit them at 11 a.m. today. And Dr. Fernando Zhang later on submitted 3 motions. Mr. Lan Kwok-hong submitted 31 motions, and 21 of which are in line with the rules, and we're going to deal with 44 motions today, 32 of which are related to FCR 2014-15-36B, and 12 are related to FCR 2014-15-37B. And today, to answer members' questions, the following government officials are attending this meeting: Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Mr. Greg So, and Permanent Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Ms. Susie Ho, Mr. Joe Wong, Deputy Secretary, Ms. Annie Choi, Commissioner for IC, and Mr. Johan Wong, Deputy Commissioner, and Mr. Alan Young, Government Chief IO, and Mr. Victor Lam, Deputy Government Chief Information Officer. I understand that members have some views on how I handle the items. After I received 1,133 motions, I had to follow the advice of the Secretariat in making my decision, and I did not have all to say. I followed the established practice and all the relevant rules in the FC procedure. And I first of all formed a matrix and then determined the variables. For example, one of the motions is that there should be exchange tours to France, Germany, etc. And then there should be 1, 2, 3, and 4 such exchanges. And we believe that they should be consolidated to having exchange tours to not less than, say, a few times to various places in the world. And I did not restrict them to only one motion. I allowed them a number of such motions, and there are similar such examples. I won't go into these examples now. And I'd like to let members know the legal justifications behind my decision. The legal advisor has prepared a paper which has now been tabled, and I will invite the legal advisor to brief you on the legal aspect of the decision. we're talking about FC 615/1516, which is in relation to the legal justifications for setting a cap on the number of motions to be moved under 37A. It is in fact set out in para 3 in relation to a recent court judgment. Para 13 of the FCVP provides for the FC chairman's power to chair committee meetings, and the Court of First Instance in that case made reference to the Court of Final Appeals judgment in Mr. Leung Kwok-hong's case on the power of the President of the Legislative Council to preside over meetings under Article 72 of the Basic Law. And having considered the case, the CFA held that under para 13 of the FCP, the power to preside over meetings and or chair meetings and to preside over meetings under Article 72(1) of the Basic Law carry the same practical or carry the same meaning. As a result, the FC chairman similarly has such power to impose restrictions, and because the FC chairman can, in accordance with the FC procedure, set limits, including the limits to motions and to terminate a debate, the court is of the view that under the non-intervention principle, and that is the court should not adjudicate matters concerning procedural compliance of LegCo unless there are provisions in the Basic Law requiring the court to do so, the CFI held that it is not for the court to determine the occasion or the manner of the exercise of this power. And this is the recent judgment in October in relation to FC chairman's power to preside over meetings. And in the next paragraph, I also set out extracts from the judgment of Mr. Leung Kwok-hong's case on the power of the President to preside over meetings, and that's in para 4A, B, C. As for para 5, it shows that the above case can apply to the present situation, and based on the above authorities, and given that the proposing motions under 37A of the FCP is part of the process of the FC meetings, we believe that the FC chairman should have the power to regulate the handling of such motions, which may include setting limits on the number of motions that members may propose if the chairman considers that it is necessary for the orderly, efficient, and fair disposition of the meetings. Or he may impose conditions. So that's the information I wish to provide, Chairman. I hope that members would, I would like to draw members' attention to the following. After the judgment handed down by the court in October, the FC chairman's powers are now clear. I hope members understand that this may be a departure from what you thought. I hope that this will save time in explaining my decision. So I'd also like to invite the Secretariat to tell us how the items under 37A are handled, how consolidation should be done. Thank you, Chairman. In fact, in our correspondence with 5 members of the Council, we already set out clearly our analysis. And basically, we follow the practice adopted in 2013-14. And when members proposes a large number of motions under 37A, the Secretariat will divide or categorize these motions into by topic. And when dealing with a large number of motions, if a single member proposes numerous motions relating to one topic, previously there was a decision that such motions should be returned to members for consolidation before they are further submitted. And depending on the circumstances, sometimes the chairman would set or recommend a limit to the number of motions, and sometimes not. Should I continue? Now, on categorization, Mr. Albert Chan earlier wrote to chairman, and the letter is in front of members now. He said that he's not clear about our categorization. Why is it that some comply with the FCP, some not? And in short, our reply is that if the motion is directly related to the item being discussed and that other motions are similar in nature, then the chairman should rule that these items are related and should be dealt with. And we have given this advice to chairman, and the chairman has ordered that the items be returned to members because these motions are similar and they follow the same topic, so they should be returned. Now, as far as the topic is concerned, can you make it clear that he is referring to the secretary? I've taken on board the advice. Sorry, the speaker is not coming through. Sorry, the speaker is not using a microphone. The speaker is not coming through.
或者其他議員作。
Other members? Does any other member wish to speak? Sorry, the speaker is not coming through. Mr. Albert Chan, well, Chairman, you need to take a serious stance because I wrote to the Secretariat this morning, and the Secretariat came up with the 12 categories. I didn't categorize them, and also for some motions that are actually independent of each other. You asked me to go back and consolidate them. I can't consolidate them. Please advise how I should do that. One independent motion is that I urge that in approving funding applications, the Secretary should have a doctorate degree, and that's the condition. And Professor Arthur Lee also used the same excuse to not appoint Mr. Johannes Chan as Pro-Vice Chancellor of Hong Kong U. And in the past, there was a motion on the height of the government official. So why couldn't I move this motion? I don't understand the advice of the Secretariat. It's totally ridiculous. I don't understand why they have changed so much. I have been moving so many motions over the years in both councils and committees. And now, not only chairman is abusing his power, even the Secretariat is abusing their power. I hope the legal advisor would give me some advice. I demand that the bureau director must be doctorate degree holder, and that Mr. Leung Kwok-hong previously moved a motion that the chief executive should not be shorter than 5'2". Why can't I move this motion? Mr. Albert Chan, you can move the motion within the scope that I allowed, because you talked about doing away with the post. Well, that is all right. Well, as for the other qualifications of the prospective Secretariat, the qualifications, etc., you should consolidate them. Well, yes, you consolidate them into one. All right. This is your view, but I have my own views. This is my right. the academic qualifications of the proposed secretary. This is a separate matter. Arthur Lee can reject the appointment of the Vice-Chancellor based on his academic qualifications. Chairman, let me finish. This is ridiculous. I hope the Secretariat and legal advisor would review the issue. The Secretary General should reconsider. You should be impartial. You should not be the you should not take any political stance. Well, I want to emphasize, and I hope you'd understand, that I took their advice, but I made the decision. Sorry, speaker's not coming through. Did I say that? Don't frame me up. This is outrageous. Sorry, speaker's not coming through. Well, Mr. Albert Chan, I will give each 3 minutes. Let's start the stopwatch now. Who would like to speak? Please press the button. He's leaving. First member, Mr. Ma Fung Kwok, 3 minutes. Chairman, now on what the member just said and how you preside over meetings, I have some comments. Now, when a member wishes to speak, a member should first press the button indicating his wish to speak. He should not be allowed to just shout from his seat. Now, this is exactly what is going on now, Chairman. Yes, please continue. Chairman. Chairman, I hope that you would uphold the discipline. Does any other member wish to speak? All right, I think our discussion will stop here. As I mentioned last time, we will allow a final round of speech, 2 minutes each, and then we'll proceed to 37A. You didn't press a button, but I'll allow you to speak, Mr. Ray Chan. Mr. Ray Chan, please. Mr. Albert Chan, has he been driven out of the room? No? Chairman, just now you allowed Mr. Albert Chan reasonable time to express his view on your ruling. I believe that I should be given reasonable time to express my view as well. Yes, I'll give you 3 minutes. Last time, you stopped members from asking further questions, or you only allowed for another round. Now, I'm not going to say whether your ruling is correct or not, but I think it's acceptable that you impose a limit on how many further questions members can ask within a time limit. But on this, your ruling on 37A, I can't accept it. I can't even accept the fact that you impose a deadline on motions under 37A to be moved, because we can move without notice motions under 37A. So my question is whether in the future we can only move motions under 37A before noon every Tuesday. You already changed the FC procedure. Why is it that you drew a deadline? You drew a line and set a deadline at the noon Tuesday. At the time, your reasoning was that the member had submitted 300 motions, but that didn't mean that you had to make this decision back then. It wasn't justified. Now, let's say if next time Mr. Wong Kwok Heng moves 300 motions, then you're going to draw a line again.
The realistic situation is those who had proposed 300 motions, but because of this reason, you had drawn the line, and today all our colleagues, Wong Kwok Heng, could not even submit 1 or 2 37As. I had submitted 70-odd, and the past presidents, when they handed level 2, 300, 37 A's, they felt it was reasonable. When Lam Kok Hong entered, we had already handled 377 A's. And my request for a maximum, why would it be 22 plus 3 or 4? 22 plus 4? How did you get that figure? Have you drawn a deadline and divide that by the number of legislators and arbitrarily gave a figure to legislators? You can rip up the ROP, Rules of Procedure, because as long as Mr. Chan Ginbo is chairman, then we'll have to submit them by Tuesday midday. You cannot submit on the spot. Time's up. I hope you can all understand. I'll give you your 3 minutes. You should not interrupt me. We need to be fair. First of all, I have not amended 37A. You can submit them anytime, now and in the future, but bear in mind, as chairman, I can decide how to proceed. You can propose. I didn't guarantee that I would adopt it. But on this occasion, I felt that I've given everybody sufficient time. I've notified you that by Tuesday you should submit your proposal, and in fact you have done so, some more than 1,000. And I had explained why we need to consolidate them. So if we can follow the procedure, you can express your 1,000 odd motions. I think I have done so. But if I don't do that, we cannot express our views by Christmas, and it would be we would not live up to the expectations of society and the IT sector. Anybody want to speak next? Mr. Leung Kok Hong. Chairman, you are wrong to the end. You said even if you gave the 1,000 or 10,000 motions, there's still a deadline. You said so. You said that it cannot be done by Christmas. That means it will be done by a certain date. In other words, following your procedure, there is an end date. You said there is a time constraint. That's the first point. You are wrong. Second, I think the pro-establishment have arranged for you to be serve as chairman. They have 40 odd people. There must be somebody who is more qualified than you. You're saying, I'm not going to rule, I'm going to let the secretary rule over it, and then I'm going to review their reasoning. So is the secretary acting as chairman now? Did I vote for the secretary to be chairman? Zhang Yokseng uses his own judgment and ruled, and then he asked the secretary, is there a legal reasoning? Tommy Chung does that. Even Leung Sing might have done so. But now you're reversing the procedure. What do you mean by not living up to Hong Kong society expectation? The IT Bureau has been stalling for 3 years. Are you saying Tommy Chung has been stalling? Are you saying that the past president, Zhang Yokseng, has been stalling? You need to be responsible for what you're saying. You can insult me, but you cannot insult everybody. You're saying Ma Yu team, they couldn't help the past presidents. Well, if you're not up to the job, then you should admit that. You should not blame other people. Leung Sing got scared out of the job, and now we have someone else take his spot. So, as I said before, when we've run out of qualified people, and the person who steps up has all the guts to do so, because all the rest have failed before him. So, if the chairman can't make a ruling, then we now have to. We need the Secretariat to fill in the shoes. So what's going on here? I'm telling you, you're wrong from beginning to end. What is the content of 37A? It says as whether we should decide on a motion submitted Mr. Leung Kok-hong. Well, I disagree with you. Next we have Wong Yok-man, Chairman. Just now the legal advisor, there's a lot of room for discussion, so you don't need to quote the Court of Final Appeal, Court of First Instance. I had put forward a judicial review. We spent a lot of time. The judge did not say you could do so. Now, presiding over a meeting, for example, in Leung Kok-hong's case, ultimately they quoted the basic law and they said that he has the right to preside over meetings. But you are not the one who can decide on 37A. For example, if I want to put forward a motion now, will you allow me? I don't need a notification. What I'm saying now is I'm proposing 700 motions and you're not even allowing one. If I raise, you have distorted the court's ruling. The court says I'm not going to. It's not for the court to consider whether or not the power was properly exercised. Here we have a pro-establishment camp. So the court said they would not rule over this issue to roll over a political matter. So I was in that case, so I'm very familiar with it. So we have Mr. Wong Kok-hong here who says he wants to stop the filibustering. He wants to. He has prop scissors. He thinks he's cutting all kinds of ribbons. Have you read my submission? Have you read the court ruling? Have you read it? Chan Ginbo, have you read the documents? Your legal advisor? Where's your legal professional knowledge? How can you serve as a political tool? You said that all you said was that they can preside over meetings. Well, I have 700 motions and not one of them has been allowed. I'm telling you, you have majority, you can put it to the vote, but I have 4 words for you. You'll never hear the end of this. This is a political issue. You exercise political wisdom. You've done your calculations. You say it can be done in an hour. We'll stop it. That's your power. You can exercise, but is it reasonable? You say the chairman has that power. They can stop the meeting, adjourn the meeting. They can rule over 37A. You have that power, but is it reasonable? If it's not reasonable, you're creating a political. You're creating a political. You're creating a political. Controversy, and you'll never hear the end of it. Mr. Wang, hear me out. I think, well, let me put forward my personal view. Hear me out. I think that you're most intelligent and you're the pioneer of filibustering. You can submit 30 motions. I'll accept them. I can accept your submissions for the Secretary's review. Okay, you can submit it. You can give it to me. Mr. Wong Yok-man, you are being unruly. Please exit. Please. Well, let's adjourn. Let's adjourn.